I don't think we've ever had as much pushback from people about an upcoming guest.
I wonder why that could be. And what's interesting is that Lily Phillips actually reached out to Triggernometry to be on the show. They didn't approach her.
You know it's controversial because otherwise why would it get such a massive backlash? You must have expected that.
So Lily Phillips went on her profile and slept with 101 men in a single day. Now, quite naturally, this is going to spark attention, spark controversy, which I believe is the reason why she did it. And this is exactly what the host is saying here.
To do 101 guys, you know it's controversial because otherwise why would it get such a massive backlash? You must have expected that.
I knew people would be like disgusted by it. And that's why I knew it would be quite a big thing to do. I mean, I didn't think it'd go as big as it did, but you know, I knew it'd do well because people rather find it disgusting or they want to watch it.
So again, this is where we'll talk about the Depravity Olympics. It's about disgust, outrage. Pop stars have done it, rock stars have done it. It's all about shock and it's about vulgarity and challenging the norm and what is considered socially acceptable. And the reframe here, I mean, she's not knitting for a living, is she? She's not making crochet. She's doing extreme adult content in order to spark backlash, in order to spark controversy, which then creates more people wanting to go and view her content.
Michael Jordan was the greatest basketball player of all time. You want to be the greatest.
Yeah. Like, I'm sure for Michael Jordan, did you just say?
Yeah.
I'm sure it wasn't about the money, because I bet when he, you know, got up to playing basketball full time that he was earning enough anyway.
Yeah.
So what, you know, why take things further and keep working hard at it? It's just to be a legend in the game.
So this is a comparison of wanting to be the best, and she's comparing herself to Michael Jordan, potentially one of the greatest basketball players to have ever lived. She's saying that she wants to be one of the greatest adult stars to have ever lived. I mean, reach for the sky, I suppose. Be the best in your field, but there's a difference between being a sports star who's dedicated and being somebody who can be ran through by 100 men in a short space of time. Or maybe that's me. Maybe I just don't understand it. Maybe the discipline what Lily Phillips has in relation to her craft is something to be revered. I'd be more than interested to hear from that perspective in the comments.
I hope when you've made enough money, you don't want to do this, maybe you want a family.
Yeah.
Is there going to be a time like that? That's an assumption.
I would love a family. I would love to get married. Definitely want kids. But for me, I don't find what I've done shameful. So I don't think, you know, I'm not scared to have kids or anything like that.
I admire the rose-tinted glasses what Lily Phillips has, where she doesn't believe that she's done anything wrong and that it will be perceived well by a potential partner. Personally, from a male perspective, she's not somebody who I would particularly want to marry, and I mean, I hope I'm not alone in saying this. And they actually go on to talk about children, and what about children, you know, do you want children? And she says, yes, I would love a marriage, I would love kids, I would love, you know, the typical, ironically, the typical traditional lifestyle. The issue with that is the internet is forever, and if you put on a lot of adult content, and not all of it will be behind a paywall, it'll be very easy for not only your child to find that in the future, but also your child's friends. All it takes is someone to go, oh, your mum's this person? Oh, great, I'm going to do a quick Google, look at what your mum's doing there. And that can cause all sorts of issues in relation to the relation between the mother and the child, but also issues when it comes to potential husbands, potential future partners, and also the issues surrounding, you know, the child themselves. One, seeing their parent perform such acts like that, and the other one, bullying, teasing of other students too. So I think when you decide to go as extreme into this line of work, you have to be very careful about the future if that is something what you want.
It's a good opportunity for you to actually lay out the things that people should weigh up.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
If someone's watching this and thinking, well, I might start an OnlyFans.
Yeah.
What should they carefully think about? So you mentioned family and friends.
Yeah.
Pretty much anyone who knows who you are will treat you differently, potentially.
Yeah.
I actually admire Lily Phillips for this, for opening up about the dangers and the potential risks when it comes to being an adult performer. One is the risk to you medically. Obviously, there's the things such as potential STIs, diseases, even, you know, unwanted pregnancies. There are also the risks surrounding safety of performers. Certainly when you're doing such an extreme act like Lily Phillips is doing, where it's essentially strangers off the street coming and using your body for the sake of content. They could be literally anybody, and albeit they have to go into ID checks and everything else, they're not properly vetted through being vouched through the industry, and they don't come fully represented by an agency or a production company. Essentially, they're not a trusted professional, and that is a risk. If you get 100 people or 1,000 people, as we have recently seen, turning up of all different demographics, then there could definitely be issues there.
Anything else on the negatives while we're on it?
Oh, I'm trying to think. Like body image.
What do you mean?
As in just the way you put yourself out there. Like, I'm always thinking, God, would I make a bit more money if I had bigger boobs? You know, if I had big boobs, or, you know, it's just huge stuff like that. People will always speak about how your body looks as well.
What she's doing there is she's highlighting that being on camera all the time and your body being the product and being a very sexual a sexual human being, and essentially the way you look and how attractive you are and how appealing you are can directly influence the amount of clicks you get, therefore your income. There is issues surrounding body dysmorphia, wanting to have cosmetic surgery, weight loss surgery, etc. And again, this is difficult in the sense of when it comes to the dangers of making adult content and the influence somebody can have, such as Lily Phillips on a particular demographic of people, such as young girls. Young girls can struggle with these issues anyway, and I think with what she's doing and her platform and the way she looks and presents herself as this sexual being, that can certainly impact other people's physical, other people's opinion of themselves. It could potentially breed further issues if somebody is potentially struggling, they can't get a partner, and they find themselves quite unattractive. They can see what Lily Phillips is doing and think, well, maybe I need to look more like her. And then if I'm more attractive, I'll be more successful with potential future partners. And then we can look at the things about money, and then we can look at the things about, you know, doing adult content as well.
You are more likely to get stalkers, is that not true?
So true. Yeah. Oh, people have what is them relationships called on the internet?
Parasocial.
Yeah. And especially with, like, obviously sex workers, people really think they're in this kind of like relationship with you, and it can be really dangerous.
That is absolutely true. My background is obviously in the police, and I've dealt with a lot of stalking cases. The term is parasocial, but there's also the type of stalker, which will generally go for somebody who is online, who they have never met. They feel that they have some kind of connection with. It is the incompetent suitor stalker, generally people who have this kind of behaviour, this kind of fascination, fixation with other people. They are not fully equipped on knowing the difference between an actual relationship and a friendship and somebody who they just interact with a lot online. Also, when it comes to the case of, oh, I pay for you, I pay for this, I pay for that, you do this particular thing for me, they can almost come up with some kind of ownership over the performer, in the sense that, well, I bought you that handbag, I bought you that car, therefore you owe me such a thing. And if you don't do that, they can then feel rejected. And then that is where a stalker can become violent or volatile in relation to the performer. And certainly with such a big profile what Lily Phillips has, and other OnlyFans stars and other adult performers, I imagine it can be quite prevalent in the community. But also this is another difficulty and another safety issue, where if you're inviting people to come and meet you in person in order to, you know, to perform with you, how do you know you're not getting an obsessed fan, someone who wishes to do you harm, or someone who believes that they have ownership over you? So that is another serious concern we have to consider.
The closest person I can think of who's a man who does something similar to you or has done is Andrew Tate.
Now, that is a very interesting point, what he's just made there. Is he talking about the influence over a demographic? She's got influence over women. As Andrew Tate has influence over young men. Be interesting to see what he goes with that.
Right?
Somehow I don't think me and Andrew Tate are similar.
I know you don't, but if you think about what you do and what he does, effectively he used people of the opposite sex to make content for money, right?
I mean, I don't really know what Andrew Tate does. I'm not too into his universe.
I don't believe that for a second. I don't believe that Lily Phillips doesn't know. Someone who's so prevalent online and has a large fan base of young men, I don't believe for a second that she doesn't know who Andrew Tate is. My dad, who isn't even on social media, knows who Andrew Tate is. So I don't believe that she doesn't. She might know of him.
Yeah,
You believe in karma?
Yeah.
That's ironic.
Oh God. Was that the right answer?
Well, no, there's no right answer, but when you say you believe in karma, what do you think I mean by karma?
As in, if you do something bad to someone, it will come back to you in some kind of way.
That's one way of saying it. I mean, it might be if you do something good to people, it also will come back to you in some way, right? It's like what you put out, you get back. In some way.
I might be wrong in saying this, but I think she does know what she's doing. It isn't necessarily wrong in the sense of exploitative and it's consensual adults. When it comes to disrupting the status quo, the reason why she's managed to get so successful and so famous as she is because she's doing something which goes against the grain. Therefore, is that wrong or is that just different? Now, when we look at the concept of karma, she is doing something now which could have quite serious ramifications in the future. Quite certainly, I think, for her own happiness and her own life, it's that instant gratification. It's, I'm making money now, I'm getting famous now, I can set myself up for life. However, with money, becomes a more expensive lifestyle. So then it's a case of, well, can you make enough money to last you for the next 50, 60 years? If she stopped doing what she was doing right now, has she made enough money to sustain herself for the next God knows how long? And then that's where the karma effect can come in. Because if that money runs out, she wouldn't be able to get another job. Any potential husband or partner is less likely to want to be with her for the long term, given what she's done. The effect she's had on young girls who may want to pursue a career in adult entertainment, that for those girls could result in mental health issues, break up of relationships, break up of family relationships. The other thing what we have to understand is, with OnlyFans stars such as Lily Phillips and Bonnie Blue, is they are advertising this way of life to other potential young ladies, young women who want quick money, who want to use their body as an object, as a product in order to garner attention and garner fame and have this same lifestyle as what these other people are doing. So not only are the acts quite extreme, they can also have an impact on other people too, because they're not seeing all of the things what happen behind the scenes. They're not seeing the impact it can have on these people. They're just seeing the paychecks, they're just seeing the money, they're just seeing the lifestyle. And that is appealing to people who don't necessarily have a lot of income, but they do have a mobile phone and internet access. So if she believes in karma, like she says, I can't see a lot of good coming her way as a result of what she's doing right now. Through making the mistakes she's making now, or making the choices she's making now, that can have serious ramifications, not only her future prospects, but also the wider prospects of people around her. If you want to watch the full interview, I will link it in the description of this video. It's actually very interesting, and I think it was quite balanced and fair. The Triggernometry guys probed and challenged when required, but also were open to listening to Lily Phillips's point of view. And I think that's good. I think it's good when we see someone we don't necessarily agree with, but we are able to listen to what they've got to say and hear their perspective in order to balance our own perspective. If you like this reaction video, please leave a comment, please subscribe, it helps the channel out massively. I'm now going to go over to my Patreon, where I'm going to talk a little bit more free about my actual own views on Lily Phillips and the adult industry in general. We can also see a progression in escalation of violence when it comes to sexual acts. If we are looking at pixels and we're looking at screens and looking at this super high drive of activity of dopamine based on what we're viewing, then that can mess people's brains up.